Support the Amigos podcast on Patreon or PayPal and receive cool perks and rad swag. Visit our page at everythingamiga.com/support.
Amiga, the first personal computer that gives you a creative edge.
Hi everybody, welcome to Amigos. This is John, Boat of Car Schaller, and this is...
I'm Aaron.
Today, guys, we're going to be talking about the classic port of a classic arcade game. Bang! I want to live forever.
You're ruining that one.
No, I'm making it better.
No.
Aaron,
Who sang that, by the way?
that was the singers from Fame. That was what they were called on the record.
I thought Irene Cara was the lead singer.
Irene Cara?
Yeah.
I thought it was just like the ensemble
Same chick that
cast
sang
of Fame.
What a Feeling.
Oh, yeah, I guess that makes sense because that does sound like her voice. Yeah,
I know a little bit about
Cara.
Irene Cara. Also, a star in DC Cab. DC.
What is DC Cab?
It's a hilarious 80s film with a bunch of comedians in it.
I thought it was a reality TV show about a DC cab driver driving around picking up random people
It might
and
be
hearing their life
now.
stories.
It might be now.
Irene Cara.
Cara.
Yeah.
Look her up. She's great. She's got several good songs. She caught that disco era just right before it died.
Where would you put her up against Kiki D?
Higher.
Higher?
Higher, much higher. Although Kiki D was British,
Yes.
and we don't know much about what she did except for that one song.
With Elton John.
We could do that duet sometime.
We could.
Do you want to be Kiki D or Elton?
Elton.
See, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah. Aaron.
You already brought it down a few notches there after pegging the board.
You know, it's funny. I was thinking about Pang.
All right.
Okay. Can you think of any arcade games that are less descriptive about what they're about than Pang? Because if you think about the other one-word arcade titles out there, you got Tapper. Okay, it's a beer tap.
Yeah.
You got Frogger. You're a frog. You're frogging around.
Yeah.
Pang?
Well, what about Berserk or Frenzy? They don't tell you anything.
Well, but those tell you about the emotion that you're feeling when you insert a quarter.
So you say it's the fact that it's a word that we don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think this was released here as Pang. Wasn't it Buster Bros? Wasn't that the American
I think that's
name?
a different game. I think that's Snood.
No, it's the same game. I did my worky work.
Okay. Well, we'll have to talk about that later.
That's
for right
okay.
now,
I never ever saw this in the arcade. Ever. Not one time.
For right now, Aaron, let's talk about this week's Amiga news. This week, it's been a crazy busy week in the world of Amiga news, Aaron.
Has it?
First of all, I don't know where you were last weekend, but you were not in Norway.
I know.
Because in Norway, they were getting
down.
down and getting funky over at the NAUG, the N-A-U-G. N, of course, stands for Norchester Rundfunk, or some city in Norway where this thing went down. There were prizes. There was fun to be had. Look at these trophies. Somebody printed out, like, I don't know if these are 3D printed or what, but the
I thought they just
NAUG...
spray painted some stuff.
Maybe so, but the NAUG crew was in full force. Look at these guys just standing around. You can tell this is in Norway because the room is completely white.
Now wait a minute, hold on a second. Are you sure that's not the Chippendales convention over there?
No, well, that's true.
Look at those handsome, strapping young men.
These are, now, a couple of these guys...
They probably had to bar the door so the ladies wouldn't bombard them with smooches.
Absolutely. A couple of these guys we recognize right away. We've got Edvin Helland, Paul Harrington, Boss Man. We got Figgy. We got Reflections. And I believe that this might be Leif Killand, the Amigos community NAUG picture. And look at Figgy. Look at him wearing those things. I don't even know what those things are. What are those, welding goggles?
His geek cred's off the charts.
Yeah, it is, man. Norway is awesome.
I love it.
Anyway, Paul Harrington took home most of the awards, as you can tell from the trophies here. Leif Killand won the Sensible World of Soccer, then Paul Harrington. So it was an Amigos sweep of
It
goodness.
looks like our guys were like one third or one half the total attendance.
Absolutely.
I will say, as I recall, Paul is didn't he crush everyone in our Amigos challenge?
Yeah, Paul. That was Paul Kitching.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But Paul Harrington is also a gaming savant. In
Clearly.
Amiga Ireland, he was just wiping up
That's
the floor.
what I'm talking about.
He
Amiga
was
Ireland.
known for crushing the competition under his heel.
Oh my!
That's what he does. He's the boss man.
clearly.
Yeah.
Those are cool trophies. I dig them.
So make sure if you are in Norway and you are not a NOG member,
Nog up, son.
Yeah, NOG up. Yeah, check out their Facebook page. They're always planning new events and new fun stuff.
Is Nog next on the list of the Boat World Tour? You gonna swing over to Nog sometime?
Absolutely, absolutely. Up next, Aaron, this is just a random video that I found on YouTube that was uploaded this past week. This is a tutorial on how this guy is making new music on his Amiga. This is an Octamed MIDI sort of walkthrough.
Ooh,
this is a guy who he's a musician, obviously, and he takes you through all of the different sort of accoutrements that he has hooked up to his Amiga. He takes you through all of the different things, and this was amazing to me because if you recall,
he's got one of those gimmick VGA adapters I've been looking at. Yeah,
we did a little sequencing at Amigathon this past year.
Well, very little in my case.
Yeah, I mean we pretty much mastered the program.
I embarrassed myself yet again.
And so this guy, he takes you through all of the different hardware that he uses, then he takes you through the Octamed software, he talks about how it's tracking and stuff. If you're at all interested in this guy is, his name is Ravi Stabs, and you can check out his fine work on his channel. And I really enjoyed this video because I thought it was cool. I'm a big hardware guy. I like to see lots of like crazy stuff hooked up to computers.
Hardware.
Yeah, musical hardware.
Yeah. You gotta specify in your case.
And so this guy has it all. He's got it all, and you can still do lots of awesome stuff with the Amiga. It's such a shame, you know, we always talk about the ST, one of the differentiating factors was that it came with those MIDI in and out ports standard right out of the box, you know, built in.
Yeah.
This thing you need an extra breakout box for MIDI support, but it's just, it's amazing. I love seeing it, and it's kind of inspired me. You know, I've got the plastic Fantastic Mac with GarageBand installed.
Okay.
I may be doing some more musical activities soon.
It's wacky that there is another Ravi-esque Amiga music guy walking around.
Absolutely.
What are the odds?
Absolutely. So check out this guy. Up next, Aaron, we finally have a sense of closure here with our chum Neil over at Retro Man Cave.
Yeah.
If you'll recall, a couple weeks ago, we talked about how he interviewed Echo.
Yeah.
But it turns out that this was actually not the real Echo. This was some random dude who was masquerading as the real Echo, aka the composer from the music of the Jesus on E. Is it Jesus on E? Is that the name of the demo? And so the music. It turns out that Echo, the real Echo, is still around. He's still a dude, and
he's still a dude.
Yeah, he's still a dude, and he's interviewed by Neil on this week's Retro Tea Break. So if you're at all interested in seeing kind of the finale of what's been the truly bizarre happening in the world of the Amiga, Neil breaks down what happened and talks to the real Echo about developing the music for that timeless Amiga demo. Can you think of any more famous demo than Jesus on E for the Amiga?
Yes, but I don't remember the name. So yes, I think there is a more famous one.
I don't think so.
I will say that this guy looks totally normal.
Yep.
And not what I expected. I don't know what I was expecting. A guy dressed like a Devo outfit or something.
Well, you got to remember, probably back in the 80s when he was doing his demo work, he probably walked around in one of those Devo hats all the time.
Yeah.
But now he's a little bit older, a little bit slower, much like the rest of us. Aaron, let's talk a little bit about our boy Amiga Bill.
The Bill.
Amiga Bill was fortunate enough to break the news on probably what is the biggest Amiga news of the last part of this year, if not the entire year.
Wow. I'm not going to oversell it.
I don't want to oversell it, yeah. But there is a new game, and then the game of this game is, what is it, Mean Streets? That's not true. What do you think it is? It's like Metro.
It doesn't matter what it's named.
There's a Streets of Rage type game.
It's called Metro Rage or something like that. But it's basically Streets of Rage on the Amiga,
right?
Effectively.
Now, this is not Streets of Rage on an 040 with an accelerator card with 512 gigabytes of RAM. This thing runs on an OCS ECS Amiga 500. This thing looks amazing.
Siege.
Metro Siege. Thank you, chat. This thing, I couldn't believe it. I watched a lot of this stream, and There's only one level done so far, so it's still early days. But Bill talks to the developer, and he talks about the various trials and tribulations of developing an independent Amiga game in 2019. Have you ever seen anything that looks quite this incredible on the Amiga before?
Listen, I mean, it looks tremendous. There's no doubt. It's got two players simultaneously.
You're about to trash it, aren't you?
No. I'm not terribly. It looks great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not underselling this. I'm not terribly surprised that this happens because, from my understanding, and I didn't get to see Bill's stream. I just saw some clips of this. I've been in prison all week, as you know, but.
Don't say that. We'll get
that's
queued
right.
up by YouTube censors.
I was working in multiple prisons, but I knew the Amiga could do things. A fighting spirit told me that something like this could happen. A beautiful game that could be made, and we've seen enough from like Lionheart and other things. We knew that on the plain Jane Amiga, you could get some pretty nice graphics, some pretty nice color, and I think you've got a team here that knew how, from what I read. These guys have a grasp of Amiga programming that I think a lot of people don't have. And
yeah, including you and I.
Well, no kidding, Bo. Thanks for specifying that. But I think this looks really good. It's my kind of game. Garbage, go around and smash people.
I'll tell you what sets this game apart is the fluidity of the animation of the main character and the enemies. A lot of the beat-em-ups that we've played on the Amiga, while graphically, this looks great, but the other games that we've played have also looked great. I'm thinking about Shadow Warriors in particular.
Yeah.
Do you remember covering Shadow Warriors?
Yep. Yeah.
Shadow Warriors looked great, but it ran incredibly slow.
This is what Bill's drinking out of. He's got like a mason jar.
Well, that's how they do it up in New York.
What's he drinking?
That's a little...
He making his own hooch?
Yeah.
No wonder Amiga Bill's so happy all the time.
Hey man,
he's got the Amiga Bill blend.
If I was Amiga Bill, I'd be drinking huge and living life.
If you're a Bowo car, you do that.
That's true.
But no, I'm very excited. It looks good. I mean, the guy that he spoke with, from the parts I saw, seemed like a pretty happening guy. Knows what's going on.
Yeah.
And these games are fun. I mean, they are. Just go around and beat the crap. My kid will be very pleased.
And I'm very excited. Even though this is an Amiga 500 game, they're including two-button support, two-button joystick support by default.
I told you they could do that on the 5.
Bill asked him, he's like, why are you doing this when most games were only one? He's like, listen, if we only ship this game with one-button support, we'd be underselling, because lots of people don't realize, even in this day and age, that the 500, all the Amigas, had two-button support from the get-go. The 9-pin joystick adapter can support 2 buttons. I mean, the Genesis proved it. So this guy I really liked listening to this guy. He seemed like he was really down to earth. He understood what he was trying to do. He wasn't trying to overshoot, what he was capable of. And I can't wait to see this game in person.
Yeah, I think it's great. I'm very excited about it.
Yeah.
And good job, Bill, as always. He got the super duper scoop.
Oh my
He even
gosh.
scooped some of the big scoopers.
Well, he is the scoop.
Well, he knows everybody.
His nickname's Hot Scoops.
Is it?
Yes. Aaron, that's the end of Amiga news for this week. Why don't we switch on over to what the Dreamcatcher has been up to?
Now, I didn't get to read this article, but I will say, having looked at it, I'm very excited because I get to tell my crazy story.
Tell me your crazy story.
So, Dreamcatcher has.
Oh, wait a minute.
No.
You are Aaron Boone.
I'm close.
Okay, this is what this screen
Isn't
says.
Aaron Boone was one of the Reds?
He was the Red. Do you know what he's doing these days?
I don't.
He's just got a little job called he's managing the New York Yankees.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, there you go. So he survived the Nightbreed. The title screen says you are Aaron Boone, Nightbreed. That's what he was reading. So. Nightbreed is a game based on a film. Okay, now I saw this film.
This is that song. Working on a night.
No, that's not it. So picture yourself, it's 1989.
Okay, I was 8
or 90, right in that area. A young Aaron is struggling mightily at college because I don't go.
That was your first year.
It's a problem.
It was also your last year.
Didn't like going to class. And so I would go down and catch matinees at the old Keith Albee Theater.
This was before they fixed it up, and it was real grungy.
The Keith Albee Theater, it's been around since the dawn of time.
Yeah.
It's old as dirt. I mean, in American terms. I mean, I'm sure there's theaters in the UK, it's like, have been around when Napoleon caught stuff there or whatever, but we don't have that stuff. So it's been around probably for 100 and some years. So I used to go and get matinee tickets and watch because I used to have deals and you could go see matinee. So
Yeah.
I would say literally,
$3-4
I would take a jar of change in there and be like, ching, 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 go out and go out. And I'd smuggle in some Diet Dr. K.
Oh yeah, I love Dr. K.
And some generic chips or peanuts, whatever I had, to go in there and sit down. So there's a theater. The Keith Albee has multiple theaters in it, but originally it was an actual theater for it still is like stage performances and stuff.
Yeah, it was a vaudeville theater.
I went to a theater that was the smallest one in there, and the weird thing about this theater is it's all balcony. There is no floor seating in the theater. It's one big balcony, and then you've got the screen, and you're pretty close to the screen. So I'm in there, and I'm the only guy that paid to see Nightbreed.
Wow.
All right, so no one's in there. And so Nightbreed, and I'm not what I would call the bravest guy.
It's true.
So I'm watching Nightbreed. I'm getting kind of chilled out, a little chill. And so the only way to get to the bathrooms in this theater, you have to go down the back stairs where you came in, go into the lobby, and go down a ramp that goes. You can see the ramp from where you're at that goes right under the screen into the bathrooms, and the bathrooms are down this flight of stairs that bows the building. Okay, and this theater had its own bathroom. So I see this creepy dude walking to the bathroom.
Was he one of the Nightbreed?
I could have been. And I'm like, man, that's a creepy looking guy. So anyway, time passes. I never see the guy come out of the bathroom, and I've got to use the bathroom, so I don't think much of it.
Don't go in there, man.
So I rolled into the bathroom. Right now, keep in mind, this guy can't leave this bathroom. All right? So I walk down to the bathroom, and it's empty. Where'd he go?
I've heard about people that can dislocate their shoulders and maneuver out like very small windows.
There's no window. You're underground. There is no window. If there was a fire, dead. So the Keith Albee is built over a series of tunnels. Did you know that? In Huntington.
It's like the internet. It's a series of tubes.
No, this is a series of tunnels. So like in Paris. There's much of those, like sewer tunnels.
Like the catacombs
That's
in Rome.
right.
Yeah.
Huntington has some of those.
Yeah.
And the Keith Albee sits over it, and there are actually panel and stuff so you can go into a tunnel. So if he did that, that's the only way he could have escaped this tunnel. I think he was an apparition. That's what I'm saying.
Interesting.
And who knew they had to hit the can? I would never have guessed that.
We've all got needs.
Anyway, movie I thought was crap. I don't know if I mentioned that.
Is it a zombie movie?
It's a goofy film. It's hard to explain.
Is it like Fright Night?
Do you see that guy right? No, it's not that good. See that in the pictures we watched, but there's a guy that
He
has
kind of looks like an alien.
He's got wormy sort of
wormy hair.
You know that Rastafarian.
Yeah.
He's got a kind of worm version of that. It don't work.
No.
So, yeah.
That was a bad move, going with the Rastafarian worm dude.
It's funny. I really recommend watching this. Just get you a few bottles and watch it, and just think, man, this is some dumb crap. Another movie I recommend is Stephen King's Night Shift for the exact same reason. I read the book, but the movie was, the book wasn't great, but the movie was real dumb. So that's another one I recommend. It's garbage.
Okay.
Look at that guy. He's got blood coming out of his face.
Yeah, he's Bloody Gandalf.
Yeah. Yes, he is. So there you go. But yeah, I think I saw a ghost there. And the theater's supposed to be super hot.
Now, let me ask you a question. If you were put to the coals and you had to choose between the time that you were at Davaroni's and you got real dizzy and then you drove home past the graveyard and you saw the zombie woman or apparition at Keith Albee Theater, which one of those is the real ghost?
Apparition at Keith Albee Theater, because I was under the influence of some kind of weird hallucinogenic drug when I was on the road outside Davaroni. So I'm going to say that's a real ghost.
That's good.
Plus, I doubt Standard Food is haunted, which is where I saw that ghost.
I wouldn't put it past him.
Well, you never know. It is right beside us.
It's right beside a cemetery.
That's what I mean. I saw her right at the edge of Standard Food in the cemetery.
Right.
Yeah. That was where I was.
That's what they say. It's like Ichabod Crane. Once you pass the bridge, it's like once you pass Standard Foods, you're entering her territory.
Well, we should have a Halloween show, and we can spotlight on all of our various ghost tales.
Halloween's coming up, man.
Yeah. Every year. How many more Elvira games are left? Isn't that our worst show every year? 10 years running. Well, 5 years.
It's hard to believe this will be our 5th Halloween show coming up.
By the way, read the article. It's great.
Yeah.
We had a conversation about Dreamcatcher on the Discord this week.
We did.
Because he's like a mythical figure. He's not on the Discord. He's sort of...
he exists apart.
He does. He's not our kind.
Yes. He's
on a higher plane.
Yeah. I compared him to sort of like, Andy Warhol, Bob Dylan, and T-Pain. He's an artist.
Who's the third guy?
T-Pain.
T-Pain?
Yeah.
Who's that?
He's a rapper.
I don't know him.
He's on a boat.
Fair enough.
Let's talk about this week's game, Aaron. This
Zeus!
week's game.
It's a Norse game.
Wasn't that like a Superman thing? Like I am Zeus?
I don't know. That was a Hulk Hogan thing.
Oh, okay. Was his nickname Zeus?
No, remember he fought Zeus. That's your favorite
Oh,
wrestler.
yeah. I forgot about Zeus the wrestler.
Oh man, I can't believe it.
I know.
That it happened.
I can't believe it myself.
So this week, and I knew we were going to come to this game eventually because I know you like it, and I know a lot of people do. It was time to get our pang on, to do some pang action.
Who wrote "Get Your Freak On"? Was that Rick James?
No.
It was a female artist.
The first
right?
time I ever heard it was it Queen Latifah or one of those?
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sure maybe she hoarded. Maybe it was just a saying. I don't know. So the year this came out was the glorious year of 1990. I recall that year because I believe that's when the Reds won their last world championship.
It was also when the Wheelers won the South Atlantic League championship.
It was a good year for baseball, and then it's been crap ever since.
Ever since.
This game came on one big floppy, obviously, and had a maximum number of 2 simultaneous players.
Never played the simultaneous.
I haven't either. That seems like you would want to kill the guy with you because it would be harder.
Yeah.
You know. So I looked into this. Now this was developed by Ocean France.
Interesting.
And I actually looked up. I found this fascinating. Now amongst the we've actually did a couple games that they covered that they did developed, including Bad Dudes. I'm bad. Beach volley. That's it. Not ball. Beach volley.
Yeah.
Cabal. Ivanhoe. Operation Wolf. Plotting and Toki. Remember Toki?
Yeah. So these guys have a pretty good track record as far as converting arcade games.
Somebody had an interview out with a fellow named Mark Dejan, and he was basically one of the guys that helped run this company. Now, from what he said, it was totally under the auspices of Ocean proper. So it was under the UK auspices, but it was in France.
These guys were just like contracted software developers.
Yeah. So, and this guy, Mark John, set them up from scratch, and he was there. They were there to code in 16-bit Ocean projects, basically. And it was set up in '86, and they worked on, like I said, they worked on quite a few games. They did quite a few ports of arcade stuff. And like I said, if this is an indication, they did a good job. Now, one of the games they did that didn't get released was Liquid Kids. You know how much I love that game.
Well, who did do the Liquid Kids?
No, they did do it. They didn't get to release it.
Really? So all the times I've played Liquid Kids on the Amiga, it's always been an unreleased
There's
version.
a reason. So here's what they would do, okay? So what they would do, apparently, was they would start coding games before they actually had the rights to them. Whoops.
Yeah,
and
bad
so
idea.
they coded that one, and then they didn't get the rights to it.
Really?
And so that's why they didn't get it released. That's from what I've
Well, I guess
seen.
it's better than have your programmers just kind of sitting around on the clock.
If you look at this, they had a bunch of unreleased games. Okay, get this: WEC Le Mans, Liquid Kids, Snow Bros. I'm guessing that's the same thing.
That's an N64 thing, I think.
Hammerin' Harry. All right, that's another one. And they and I don't know. I can't explain why those didn't get released, but he mentions Liquid Kids by name. He says that didn't get released. Another thing they did was a game based on an Adidas license that didn't get released because they didn't have the license, basically. So that's what they did.
What would you think? What would you think an Adidas game would be?
I don't know. It's just that it was a product game. It didn't matter what it.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I'm just asking the question.
I don't know, running or tennis or something.
I was thinking about it's what Adidas stands for, man.
Oh no,
Yeah.
not that shtick.
Oh man, I hear it every day because I teach middle school.
So before we get real heavy into they still use that one, do
Oh
they?
man, it's never gone away.
Before we get real heavy into Pang, the Amiga game, let's talk about Pang, the arcade game, Boat.
Okay.
Like, number one, did you ever see this in an arcade?
No.
Okay, I didn't either. I never saw it in an arcade. It was developed by a Japanese outfit simply called Mitchell. And if you're a Mr. Science Theater fan, you'll find that phrase alone amusing. And it was published in North America by Capcom.
Okay.
Now listen to this. I didn't realize how many ports Pang had. Okay, You got the TurboGrafx CD. I thought that was odd.
That is odd.
Super Nintendo, PlayStation, Game Boy, the Specky, got it. C64, Amstrad.
Well, I mean, really, this game is so simple at its core. It could really be ported to anything.
Yeah. Of course, the Amiga, the Atari ST, DOS, and the iPhone got a port of this thing too.
Pang Adventures is available on PS4 for under $19.
Yeah, they had tons of sequels. So this came out in the arcades in '89. It was just your standard fare. And the Amiga version, I would say, I've played both, and they're very similar. I mean, they're very similar games. So let's look back on the actual Amiga release. So as I mentioned, this came out in '90, and was an arcade port, and I would say, having played the arcade, a good port. Now, you want to explain? I mean, I can try to explain the gameplay because it's bizarre. You're a guy.
Okay, let me try.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Think about asteroids. When you blow up an asteroid, it makes smaller asteroids. Okay. Think about if you were on the ground level, and asteroids were bouncing down towards you. So every time you shot one, it would make two smaller asteroids, which are also affected by gravity. You have what is effectively a hook shot, if you're familiar with hook shots. Or a hook shot if you're familiar with Zelda. And you can send that thing up in the sky, and either if the hook part or the chain part touches one of the bubbles, it will burst into smaller bubbles. And the bubbles get quite small before you're actually able to defeat all of them.
I thought it was more like a harpoon. Or also, who was it, like Strider, one of these guys? One of those guys had one of these gimmicks where they throw it's like a string with a hook on the end, like a grappling hook.
I never played Strider, so it's possible that it's a Strider-esque weapon
but
as well.
It's more like a harpoon, at least the original weapon.
And the gimmick behind Pang is that it's a worldwide affair, much like City Connection, one of my favorite games. So this is, you travel all around the world to defeat many globules of unknown origin. And you get a series of items that can help you. You start out with the hookshot / harpoon, but you can upgrade that to some guns that can do different things. There are different power-ups.
There's a double harpoon.
Double harpoon. And basically, the level ends when you destroy all of the balls, when they get down to be so small that they can no longer affect you. So that is basically Pang in a nutshell. What makes the game more difficult is that the stages have different sort of obstacles that prevent you from just firing straight up in the air to defeat the spheres. And also they are multi-layered too, so there are ladders that you can climb up and get to the different things. It's a very, very simple game at its core, especially for being released in when did it get released in arcades? 89 in the arcades. But what saves this game is that it's very pretty. Your main character, it's kind of a Donkey Kong 3 perspective. Did you think about that?
I will say, with the addition of the platforms and the ladders, that play style did. I mean, it's not like Donkey Kong 3, but
it's sort of that perspective. I'm not really sure. To me,
it's goofy.
Yeah, to me, this is. I would probably not play this game if I had limited funds and I was in an arcade, because there's not a lot to it. However, playing at home, it's sort of a fun, mindless distraction game, and I enjoy it.
This game, because I was familiar with this because we played it on the Amigathon, and I played the arcade version. I started this game out and instantly died. And then died again, and my game was over. And so I turned on Unlimited Men. Then I died. Boy, did I die. And so I guess what I'm saying is, I died a lot at this game as I trounced through all 50 levels, and with the help of a level code. And the funny thing about this is, I may get smashed repeatedly on like level 12, and I might go to level 40 and kill it.
It's very random.
It's very weird. I will say they do ramp up the difficulty sorta, but I think all of it's difficult. And what gets me is the third level of ball. There's little ones. They're one of the quote unquote power ups you get. It just disintegrates all the balls and the little balls. Sounds great, except there are 4 million little balls bouncing around, all out of sequence, and you're trying to run around like a maniac, and not get killed.
It's very similar to Arkanoid in that some of the power ups you question their usefulness.
Now I was, the best I did was with the actual gun, the twin-barreled, like, It was like more like a shoot 'em up.
Right.
But you would
And
often
then it's really a lot like Donkey Kong.
you would often get another power up accidentally and hose yourself. Another power up would make the balls go slowly, and one would stop the ball.
Yeah,
that was super handy. If you could get it at the right time. And of course, you could get these power ups whenever you want until they disappear. They eventually go away. One of the irritating things is if you're playing one of the platform levels, the power ups might fall in a place you can't get to, you know, or you can't possibly get to, or a place that there's bad guys that you can't get past.
Right.
Don't really. I mean, part of me says there's a puzzle element to this. I mean, I guess there's the puzzle in this would probably be like the easiest way to do the level.
Exactly. It's like the path of least resistance.
But I didn't see it that way. I thought this game was, you know, one of my problems with this game is I wish you could actually shoot diagonally and stuff. That would make it a little bit easier.
That would change the game.
It would change it, and I think it needs change. This game is super simple. Every time you complete a level, there'll be a picture of your guy in like a pith helmet going like, aha!
He looks awesome.
It was great the first 3 times, and then I saw those same pictures 40 other times.
Yeah, that's true.
They've got 3 or so pictures, and that's it. So if you're looking for that now, the levels have music. Sometimes the music's pretty good. It's sort of generic.
Yeah, but I mean, it changes. It's not the same tune all the time.
This game was very arcade accurate in the same way that, say, one of the other one-screen games we've tried on this show.
Like Rainbow Islands.
Like Rainbow Islands. I mean, are the graphics going to blow you away or make you drop to your knees and bow down to the graphic lords? No. But they're good. They're for this game, they're totally functional. They're just like the arcade.
Let me push back a little bit. Okay.
Oh, okay.
This game came out in 1989 in the arcades.
That's right.
Okay. This game was released on home consoles in 1990. So 1 year after this game comes out in arcades, you're getting essentially a version at home that looks just as good as the arcade version.
Correct.
There's not a whole lot of games like that where there's only a 1 year gap between release.
It's a simple game.
It doesn't matter. There's not a whole lot of games you can say that about.
I'm not killing it. I mean, you can't make the graphics better. It's perfect.
You can make them worse.
That's right. But what I'm saying is, if you're expecting like, it's a lot like I said. That's why I compared it to one of the other games.
I mean, think about Bad Dudes. Bad Dudes in the arcade and Bad Dudes on the Amiga do not look the same.
That's true. But Bad Dudes is clearly a more challenging game to pull off.
It is.
Here's the thing, and I guess this is the ultimate endorsement or damnation of this game. If you like Pang in the arcade, you will like this game. It controls fine. The button is there. You're good to go. All right. I didn't see anything wrong with it, and I've played this on my arcade machine. If you don't like Pang, this isn't going to win you over with any extra added bonus levels. There's a top score chart. There's you can change the difficulty, which I played on Moron, by the way. So I can't imagine what playing on the most advanced one would be.
I just put it right on the
it was
level.
Operation Murder. If it wasn't for the cheat stuff, I'd have been El Bono Grande. You know, I found it a difficult game. I will say that. Did you not find this hard? I mean,
well, yeah. I mean, but I enjoyed my time with. I like Pang. I think like I said, it's a great game. You put on a CD, you put on some music, you just kind of zone out. You see how far you can get. I used the Infinite Life code too.
You had to, yeah.
And one of the, I don't know, it's just like there's something about the physics, the way that the balls bounce. I feel like it's...
Don't say relaxing.
Well, it is sort of relaxing, you know, and I don't like the shoot 'em up part of it. I like keeping the hook shot, and I like when you fire the hook shot up and the ball bounces against the chain before it disappears, you know. I like this game because it teaches you about geography. You go all over the world. You've got Ayers Rock, and which they call something else now in Australia. You've got Angkor Wat. You learn about all these famous landmarks all over the world. It's so much better than just having, you know, generic stage number 4 like a Load Runner or something like that.
Did you actually play to the States at all? The States get one location, and it's New York.
Oh,
it's always
lame.
New York. And I noticed it's
Where's
funny.
the Milton Flea Market?
It's Hillbilly Flea Market not represented.
Yeah.
But this is another of those games. The Twin Towers are in. I'm always like, wow, that's crazy. You know, I will say, you get the power ups. If you get the right set, it's all about the power ups. if you get, there's, like Boat said, you've got your normal grappling hook thing. Then you've got a grappling hook that stays, when you throw the original one up, it stays there for a minute and then for a second and goes away. Then there's this advanced version that will stay there for a long time when you throw it up. Then there's a double. Then there's also, we also mentioned that like the Vulcan gun. Then there's also a shield you can get. And the shield sticks around, I think, indefinitely until you get hit.
Oh, yeah,
but
right.
That helps. That helped me a lot. You can just kind of run into a couple things before you die. If you get like the Vulcan shooting gun and the shield, you can clear a level pretty easily.
I'll say this about Pang. Pang is the last of the red-hot classic arcade titles.
No.
Single screen,
okay.
easy to grasp, hard to master.
It is hard to master.
I mean, can you think of a game that came out after Pang that is a classic arcade style like this?
Well, I'd have to look at dates because clearly my brain is tapping.
Well, don't think about dates. Just tell me another game that you think might be around this time that's of that ilk.
Oh, dude, I've got no idea.
Yeah, to me, this is the last of
probably
them.
Probably one of those like Bejeweled type games that they got ripped off.
Like Bust a Move or something.
Yeah, those things are single screen with cutesy stuff in them.
Yeah.
But this is a lot more manic than those. This game, it's funny how many times you'll die while your hook is stuck up in the ceiling.
Yeah, that is that.
That happens quite a bit, and when you've got no shields. I mean, when you've got a rain of those little balls, you're cashing in your chips. Something else when you die, there's no like, okay, you killed this many balls. No, you start all over on that level.
It's all or nothing with
Pang. And that's just the way it is. It's funny that these games, these sort of single-screen games, like this has nothing to do with Rainbow Islands or, any of those Bubble, but they all have sort of a same sort of cutesy art style, and the uppity music that makes you happy. I know you do.
It's my favorite thing.
I know you do, and I don't.
Yeah,
which is why I like. It's funny. Of all these, Liquid Kids is still my favorite, and it's not single screen.
No,
that's probably why I like it so much. But I don't hate single screen stuff. This thing has 50 levels. 50.
Yeah.
Pretty good. And which the arcade had 50, and they go all around the world, like Boat said, and you'll spend 4 screens or so at each location. You'll get different palette swaps of like dusk setting or whatever, and it'll be nighttime. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, and it was a way to recycle the backgrounds without just recycling them.
Yeah, you can like I said, if you've got one of the hacked versions, you can cheat. Now it's funny. I read something on Hall of Light, which we don't give those guys enough credit because Hall of Light's also a tremendous website.
I mean, they are. You're absolutely right. They're number one. I mean, they've got what Lemon has is great, but what like Lemon has sort of the community aspect, and they've got a lot of like typed up manuals. But if you're looking for scans of anything, Hall of Light's your number one.
Hall of Light, they're Hall of Light and Lemon, which they complement each other quite nicely.
They do.
Anyway, Hall of Light had a note at the bottom that I found odd, and I thought I'd mention on here. So it said almost every 1990 scene release of this game had the very same characteristic. It was created from an unfinished beta. That's why the monsters that would normally appear in some later levels with the coin-op releases didn't show up at all. Only a few scene groups were aware of this fact and created their own release in the final version, so watch out.
Wow.
So that's a little head up if you're a dirty, rotten, stinking, filthy pirate. Make sure you pirate the right version. Now, I went through every level of this game, and I saw stuff on all the levels. Now, that much said, I'm trying to think if I saw monsters on any of the levels. And I don't think I did. No. So we may have...
Maybe we're playing the scene version.
We may have the wrong scene version.
I'm not... Aaron, I don't want to cast any aspersions, but we may be playing a cracked, pirated version of this game. I know.
I thought it just had a trainer at it.
It boggles the mind.
Well, that's how they get us every time, Bo. Now we're going to jail. Dadgummit. So, any parting shots on this one, Bo?
Like I said, I think that if you have fond memories of playing early 80s arcade games, single screen, kind of unipurpose type games where there's really only one mechanic, you can have a lot of fun with Pang. It's not the deepest game in the world, and it's not going to hold your attention forever. This is not Tetris. This is not going to keep you coming back for more. But it's a good game to keep in your rotation.
So get this, Bo, before we close it up. I looked this in the wiki and confirmed it one of the other pages. So in Japan, this game was called Pumping World. Was it called Pang?
I don't know. It seems like that's a better name. Pang just seems like it's the worst name.
In Europe, it was called Pang. So it was. Which do you think is better, Pumping World or Pang?
Give me Pumping World any day of the week.
So when this was released in North America by Capcom, the name was changed to Buster Bros. So that's where you get your names.
It's funny though because I don't think any of the home releases called it Buster Bros. I think they readopted the name Pang.
There was a
Where is the bro? I guess there is.
There was a Super Nintendo version. I think it was Buster Bros.
I've never seen a Super Nintendo. It must not have got an NTSC release.
Might be right.
Ocean France.
You might be right.
Keeping it in the continent.
Now this game got a bunch of sequels that weren't on the Amiga. You got your Super Buster Bros, aka Super Pang. Pang 3, Mighty Pang, Pang.
Come on without.
Magical Michael. I don't know what's going on there.
It's got Jordan in it.
Pang Adventures, not bad. So you got choices, and of course this has been released ad nauseum all over the place.
Yeah.
Let's talk reviews. Did we get any reviews from our loving listeners?
We did. Well, I'm queuing them up. Why don't you read some of the ones you?
All right, I looked up. There's a ton of reviews on this one. So our good buddies over at Lemon, your premier Amiga webpage.
Yeah,
that's not Hall of Light. One of those two. Gave it an 8.31. Super popular.
Pretty good, yeah.
Amiga Action gave this. It's funny they reviewed this. I've got two reviews. One in November of '90 and August '92, and they gave it a 73 and 90 and a 92 and 92. So it went up. Maybe it was a value thing. Amiga Computing gave us a 91. Amiga Format gave it a 90. Amiga Mania gave it a 92. Amiga Mania.
It's running wild.
Amiga Power gave it a 91. You can see these are all good scores. CU Amiga 86, the 1, 90. Amiga Power listed this as the 11th best game ever in their first Amiga Top 100 list. Pretty good, you know. What do you got?
Graham Vebke says, your safari-suited guy shoots upwards of balloons to clear stages, but it's done in a different way to bust a move. These balloons, when they burst, sometimes drop power-ups that can be used to create weapons, shields, and other things that help finish the stage. The backdrops behind the gameplay are quite nice. The sprites are very colorful. It controls well, and the music I enjoyed listening to while playing. I didn't get a chance to explore the two-player options, but as a single-player game, it's quite fun and challenging to play. 7.5 out of 10. Chris Fold says, shockingly, I played this version before the arcade game. It's a fairly accurate port of this fast-action bubble game with good graphics and sound. It still holds up remarkably well and is a fun pick-up-and-play game. 8 out of 10.
That's a high score for Folds.
Yeah.
Because he'd be killing games.
Yeah.
I believe, I was commenting, speaking of Folds, before we close shop on this, I was commenting the other day that I was listening to an episode of a show where they were going over all the top Digger games of all time, and they did not have Mr. Do on there.
Right.
And I was like, how is this possible that we didn't have Mr. Do? And Folds told me he never played Mr. Do in the arcade.
Well,
couldn't believe it.
It's you know, I never played Mr. Do in the arcade either.
Really?
Well, you got to think about, by the time that I was of arcade age.
Let me ask you, did you play it on any console?
No.
Really? So the first time you played it was in MAME as well?
No, the first time I played it was on the Atari 1200 XL.
That's sort of console.
But I never saw it in the arcades. I didn't even know it was an arcade game until well after I was very old by the time. But however, Pixels of Dawn says that Mr. Do was one of the few games he remembers from his youth playing back in the day.
You know what would be good right there beside your your Mario Brothers would be a Mr. Do.
Oh, I'd
it would
love
fit
to
in
have
there
one.
beautifully.
I love those Universal cabs. They're so good.
Yeah. Oh, I looked this up on eBay, by the way, and you can get this bad boy for between $12 and $20 boxed. So quite reasonable if that's your bag.
Do want to wish a happy birthday to you.
Oh.
Happy birthday, Aaron. Almost 40 this year. And Lobsterminator over in Finland. Worthy Amigos family member and Discord participant. Happy birthday, Lobsterminator, over there in Finland.
I hear people over in that area, they literally age half what we do here.
You know, people in Finland, it's because of their diet. All they eat is crayfish and Crayolas.
The crayons?
Yeah.
Weird.
It's weird.
One of those nutty customs, I guess. Yeah.
We do have a new. We got some feedback on our last episode, Aaron.
Oh, sweet Lord, no.
This is from Trum, our good buddy Trum. We're going to talk about that. He says, I've been a long-time listener to the podcast. Thanks for all you guys do. He says, when a new episode drops, it feels like listening to some friends down the pub, chewing the fat and squabbling about some nerdy fact or other. He says, I always enjoy hearing about the various games that push the Amiga to its various limits, but even more so when I have strong nostalgia for a particular game. He said that when we were talking about Mercenary 2, it reminded him of a whole set of games that many of us Amiga owners in the UK had. The 10-star pack.
Ooh, 10-star.
So, Aaron, we always hear about these packs.
It's a compilation of something.
Yeah, you got the Batman pack, you got your creativity pack,
Cartoon
you got
pack.
Yeah, cartoon pack. This is the 10-star pack, okay? So the 10-star pack came with Amigas with an E instead of an I. I don't know what that is. The Art of Chess, Barbarian, Buggy Boy, Ikari Warriors, Insanity Fight. Sounds like this show.
Bingo.
Mercenary, Escape from Targ in Mistaken City, Terror Pods,
Yeah,
Thundercats,
Yeah, oh,
and of
man.
course you got to throw Whizball in there.
I mean,
why
Whizball, the
not?
class of that batch.
Right.
Thundercats?
He said, I spent most of the time on Barbarian, Insanity Fight, and Whizball.
Can you say that again? That's
That's what I do when I'm sitting in a corner alone. I just babble.
Just sit there just to babble, yeah.
And he says his favorite game for the Amiga is Weird Dreams.
I've played that on the PC. I believe it was on the PC, maybe on the Amiga.
He said it came with a photocopied, stapled manual. The front cover was terrifying, and is still to date the only game I've ever played to feature a giant candy floss machine, a giant bee, a ball that eats you, and a desert. Yeah, a desert full of flying fish.
Reading's hard.
Yeah. He says, thanks for keeping me sane on all these long journeys. He says his job involves traveling up and down the UK at times.
Oh, man.
And this is from Trum. He said, you previously speculated on my iTunes review if my name was related in some way to Trump. He says, this is not the case. It's simply a shortening of my name, and I'm not a big fan of his. So we're setting the record straight. Trum, no fan of Trump.
I like it.
We got a new iTunes review, Aaron.
Sweet lordy.
This is from
A
our
good one?
man, Chokelod Smurfin.
Choke a Smurf what now?
Chokelod Smurfin.
Okay.
Or maybe Chalk Lad Smurf.
I'm going to guess that not an American.
He's from Sweden,
Okay, very good.
where all the best are. If you're into the Commodore or Amiga computers in particular, look no further. The Amigos is a nice blend of nostalgia and modern perspective on old systems. The hosts are lighthearted and fun to listen to, and they are surrounded by a great community. Thank you,
That's true.
Chocolate Smurfin. And if you have not left us an iTunes review and you enjoy the show, please do so. That really helps us get discovered because so many of the podcasters out there use the iTunes database in order to serve their customers recommendations. So we appreciate that.
I will say the Google has their own podcasting gimmick.
They do.
That's right. And I've got one of those Google deals.
You do
the
have a
big
Google
little
deal.
disc. What are those things called?
Google Home.
That's right, the Google Home. And you can just walk up and say, Google, play Amigos. And just burp, it comes right up. You can say, Google, play ARG Presents. Bam, it comes right up. The Sinclair, it didn't work when I tried it last time. So we'll have to work on that one.
Yeah, we'll have to work on that.
I think that's neat. And
It is
because we've
cool.
been on Alexa for a while, so it's cool. You can just it freaks me out.
It's your voice on demand.
It
You can hear
is.
yourself talk.
I
whenever
literally,
you want.
I laid in my bed listening to me, and I'm like, Helen, what? What wizardry is this?
Well, it's what happens when you become unbelievably famous.
Is that
like
what-
we are?
Oh, yeah. Just the other day I was down at the Hillbilly Flea Market, and I was getting stopped left and right. Hey, aren't you that there, Amiga? Yes, I am.
Your average clientele at the
Will you
Hillbilly
sign
Flea
my
Market.
overalls?
Yeah,
Well, give me
huge Amiga
give me
fan.
a crayon, buddy.
So last week, Aaron, the Patreon
You're not
song
wrong. Yeah.
was "I Don't Want to Miss a Thing" by Aerosmith.
Let me tell you something. Funny you
Brother.
should mention that. Let me tell you something, brother. That song was on my mind all week because of that, and I sang it. I sang the chorus 100 times, and it was your fault.
It's funny. It was also stuck in my head.
Good.
All last week too.
I'm glad you know that.
So I want to congratulate our song winners, Terry Howard, who was instant
She was-
Terry Howard. She was on.
Jenny on the spot, if you will.
Pixels at Dawn, Tapes from the Crypt, who's launching a new site pretty soon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, stay tuned for that. Barkbit and Chicote. So congratulations to
Well
you
done,
guys.
ladies.
So as always, if you know this week's Patreon song, please send me an email at john@amigospodcast.com so I can reward you in the best way I know how by saying your name live on the air.
Then immediately rush to your nearest ear doctor for some treatment.
We do have a new supporter this week, Aaron.
Oh, okay. Oh boy,
yeah.
You go wiggle him in, are you?
His name is Kilobytes and Caffeine.
Nice. Yes, I spoke with him.
Two
on
of my
Discord.
favorite things.
Now, when you get new supporters in here, and we do get some up and down, and how do you add them? Do you just put them at the beginning, the end?
I put them at the beginning.
Now, I know you go through rigorous, continual preparation.
It's continual and rigorous.
So after, let's say, for example, here comes this guy. He comes in. He's our new buddy. You add him. Does that throw off the whole song, or do you have to just, is it a professional move where you just sort of add him?
Well, what I do, usually I start practicing the song, you know, about 2 to 3 weeks beforehand. So if we get somebody in between that time, it kind of throws off my rhythm, but I somehow manage to overcome.
That stuns me. That stuns me. That
It's all down to my musical genius.
No, the part where you said you've got rhythm. That was the stunning part.
Oh, well.
Go ahead, crank it up.
Okay.
I need to get a laugh. What? There it is. It's the ritual weird noise you make before you begin the singing.
This might get ugly.
Wow, how out of character.
Kilobytes and Caffeine.
Wait a minute, stop the song. You just stuck it right at the beginning?
I told you I put them at the beginning all the time.
Okay, go ahead.
Kilobytes and Caffeine. Mike Deckard, Threepwood, Gary Heather, Free Lunch Kate Fox, David Pickford, Cameron Armstrong, Andy Jones, Lobsterminator, Craig McClellan, Tidminute, Amiga Retrocast, Counting Virtual Sheep, Bernard Quinn, Retro, Man Cave, Tim Drew, Simon Rose, Joseph Harrison, Kyle Etter, Rob O'Hara, Howard Nibbs, Matthew Larimore, Andy Craig Shanzo, Darren Lomax, Con 419, Bark Bid Rolenberg, Andrew Monkshaws, Joe Zombie, John Cook, Dan Ross, Leaf Kellan, Alan Kebab, Checote, Level Lord, John Marshall, Matthew Perron, Ricky DeRocha, Creepy Dead Boy, Figgy C, TZ the Slow Norris, Stefan Swargard, Mortensen, Edvin Helland, Blindo75, Christopher Hassel, Ravi Abbott, Chris Folds Dreamcatcher, Lauren Giroux, Graham W. Vebke, Lane Denson, Adam Battersby, O'Brien's Retro and Vintage, Gary Hucker, C. Brian Jones, Paul Bossman Harrington, Duncan Stiles, Tapes from the Crypt, Josh Nan, Adam Bradley, Jonas Rouleau, THT, Eric, Nelson, Kim, Tommy, Humbert, Shaw, Daniel, Bingston, Brutal Barracuda, Darren Coles, Jason Warnes, Pixels at Dawn, and Kjolbjorn Barman.
Sort of seems like you just sort of sang the that one part over and over.
Well, here's the thing about songs by the band that I sang.
I knew you were going to...
That's what they are, because they suck.
Oh, man.
They're
Listen,
no good.
I don't think there's no reason to take your poor performance out on them.
Yeah, I will take all of my poor performances out on them.
Was that a winning guess we just got in?
Probably so.
Someone knew. Good luck.
All right, guys. Next week, we are going to take a look at Shooter Week on the Amigos.
Pang wasn't a shooter?
No, Pang was an arcade port.
Okay, great shooter. What do you got?
Project X.
Oh, Bo, you're gonna love that. It's chock full of your favorite kind of toots.
Isn't there? There's a lot of like. There's a lot of like X stuff. Like what is the X-Pac?
Yeah,
that wrestler.
That's true.
And then wasn't there another X guy in
There was
wrestling?
a guy just called X.
There's a guy.
There was Dr. X.
What about the guy that does like the X motions on his lower?
That's X-Pac. Yeah.
Did he invent that?
Yeah, I think so. Sort of. But really, do you want to claim that? I'm sure people made obscene gestures before he came around.
That's true.
Everyone knows this, Bo. I'm going to school you, sir. If you put an X at the end of something, that instantly gives you cool cred right there. X. And Project X is a game I've actually played before, so I'm looking for. I can't believe we can't ever covered that.
I know,
That
it's
is
weird.
baffling to me.
I've never heard of it, so I'll check it out. I'll let you know.
All
what I
right,
think.
Project X. Yes.
We do record Amigos live every Friday at 5:30 Eastern.
Not the hint of editing. It just ramble on no matter what.
That's right.
And ship it.
And we'd love it if you could join us live on the YouTubes.
What? On the YouTubes?
Yeah, that's what they are.
That's who says that?
Me.
Okay.
You can join the illustrious crowd.
And we got a good crew in here today.
Pixels at Dawn is here modding it down.
Yeah.
Ed Van Helland, he's relaxing in his man cave with his nitro-fueled brewski. Duncan Styles
That's
is
how you do
here.
it.
Wishbone is here. That's his
Wishbone
song.
does not like Google.
No. Traegard 1982 is with us. Michael Ryan, coding from his home in sunny California, UK Retro Gamer, Samwise, and Necronom. Paul Bossman Harrington, Picard 2005. Thank you guys, Steve Rasmussen. Thank you guys
Michael
so
Ryan.
much. I said that already.
Michael Ryan's in here. Terry.
Terry's not here.
I just saw her name go by.
No,
Terry. What do you think? I'm just seeing things?
Yes. Terry's not here?
He was. I swear. Right there. Terry Howard.
No, I thought you
Bam.
were talking about Terry Williams.
You did not. He
Yeah, I
can't use a
did.
computer.
Oh, okay. Well, guys, we
Kidding
will
me.
see you next week. Until then, keep playing the Amiga. We'll see you next Friday. Adios.